Hi, my name's Brad Phillips. I'm here with Puppy Steps Training. Today we're going to be doing a training demonstration for you. So we're going to walk you through the program. We're going to show you everything that your puppy has learned. We're also going to teach you how to continue with the training. Now, before we get to the more demonstrating part of the program, we're first going to talk about some really important information that's going to help you have a lifetime of success with your puppy. So, your puppy is doing fantastic. Otherwise, we wouldn't be sending him home. Like I've told you before, I train to a standard, not a strict time frame. So your puppy has reached our standard. We have very high expectations, and it's going to be important for you that as you bring them home, that you have the same expectations. Dogs are really, really neat, that they will live up to our expectations, whether we set them high or whether we set them low. And if one person in the family sets them low and everybody else is high, they're going to continue to try and test waters and see what they can get away with. So we want to make sure that the whole family is on the same page. And that's also why these demonstrations are so important, so that we can set the bar before our puppy ever enters into our home. Now, it's important to remember, your puppy is a puppy. And so they're going to have energy and they're going to make mistakes. Just because they went through our training program does not make them a perfect dog. I always like to joke with people, if you were expecting perfection, you might want to run over to Walmart and grab you a stuffed animal. And even there, you're probably going to find a flaw. So it's important to understand that our puppy is going to make mistakes. But it's also important to understand how to deal with those mistakes as they arise. Because failure or making mistakes is a very important part of learning. And so we have what we call our 3 keys to success. Now these are how we try and keep mistakes at a minimum and make sure they don't become bad habits. They're also how we continue with the training and make sure that we have success in our home. So those 3 keys are consistency, follow through, and management. You have to have all 3. These 3 things teach our puppy that we are the leader, that we're going to take care of them, that they don't have to worry, and that their needs are going to be met. Now, so we're going to start with consistency. We've taught them a certain way, and so it's important to try and be consistent along the same lines. Now, if you say things a little bit differently, as long as you're consistent with that, your puppy will understand, but it may take them a few days. And that's why we talk about the transition period. And so for the next 2 to 4 weeks, your puppy is going to be transitioning. During this transition period, they're trying to learn what the expectations are. They're trying to learn the way that you give commands. They're going to learn what they're allowed to get away with and what they're not. And especially over the next 3 days, your puppy is going to be confused. And so they're going to probably test more boundaries, just trying to see whether that consistency, that follow through, that management, they're going to try and see whether those are there. Now, also during this transition period, they're going to be undergoing a period of stress. They're leaving a familiar environment, now being thrown into an unfamiliar environment. So they may lose their appetite. They may get what we call the puppy blues, where they're not as active as they usually are. Maybe they seem a little bit sad. They also may act out once again and see what they can get away with. So it's important that we are patient with them. I want to try and really focus on building a relationship with my puppy during these first 3 days versus trying to build these commands up back to where we have them right now. Because with the stress, there's also going to be just a little bit of regression. Now, regression doesn't mean that they're going to pee in the house or that they're not going to do commands for you. It just means, once again, that they're going to be under stress, and so we're going to take that into an account, and we're going to lower our expectations just a little bit. Now, I'm always going to enforce manners. It doesn't matter whether they're stressed or not. They're not allowed to bite me. They're not allowed to jump up. They're not allowed to break through doorways. So we're going to expect the manners, and we're going to show you all of these here in a few minutes. But the commands, I'm going to keep to a minimum. Now, during this demonstration, we're going to show you some amazing stays, the place command, and they're doing awesome. But we're going to take that down. We're not going to expect them to hold a 5-minute stay on their place within the first 3 days. Instead, I'll still do these commands, but I'm going to keep them really light. I'm going to keep them fun. I'm going to make sure that I'm helping my puppy succeed. I always want to train to success, not to failure. I never want to play guess what's in my head. I want to make sure that they have all the answers to the test. So now let's just break down those 3 keys. So the first one, consistency. We are a balanced dog training program, and so we have markers for both reinforcement and correction. And you're going to want to use these same markers. They give a clear understanding of whether your puppy is doing the right thing or the wrong thing. Like I said, we want to give them lots of information, lots of feedback. So our positive markers, we have the word good and the word okay. So good is a marker that means keep going. It's an intermediary marker. So if I put them on a place, I'm going to tell them place. I'm going to say like good girl or good boy, and I'm going to enforce that you're doing the right thing, however you are not done. Now when they're finished with that command, when I'm releasing them from that stay, then I'll use the word okay. So okay marks the correct behavior. It tells them that they're released from a stay and that they've done the right thing. And so it's really important to use these markers to give them that information. Once again, I'll tell them good. So that's good job, keep going. Okay, you're finished, you're able to get off, you're able to maybe venture out a little bit, give them a little bit of freedom. Okay just means that you're done with that behavior at that time. Now, we also are giving them rewards during this time. So your puppy right now is very food motivated. That is their currency. Just as you would not go to work if you did not receive a paycheck, your puppy is not going to work for you unless they're being rewarded or they're paid out. Now, eventually, as they get a little bit older, we can wean those rewards off. There's also times where I don't want to use a food reward. But right now, and especially during this transition period, we want to use a high value reward. And so I'll give them a little piece of treat. I might give them some ham or hot dogs or maybe a little bit of cheese, something high value, just to really drive this point home that I'm going to reward you and that I have the same expectations and that this is very positive for working for me. Now, there are going to be times where you don't have food on you, and that's where I'll use praise and affection. And of course, I'd mix that in with everything. I want to praise my dog. I want to show them affection and really show them that they're doing the right thing. Now, if I'm using a toy as a reward, which a toy is a good form of a reward, that's when I do not want to have treats on me. I want them to be focused on that toy. Because the moment that I pull out a treat, then they're going to forget about the toy and they're going to want to work for food. And I want them to have a good toy drive because that's a really important way to mentally stimulate your dog as well as meet their physical needs so that we can give them exercise. So those are our three primary forms of rewards. That's food, praise and affection, and toys. So use all three, but really keep it heavy on simple treats right now. Really drive this point home. Now, when we talk about a correction, so that's our second part of consistency. Like I said, you have to have both. I do not believe that you need to physically dominate your dog. I want our relationship to be built out of respect for me as the leader. And so I give them, once again, a lot of feedback, but my correction a lot of times is just no, and that's all it is. Dogs read our voice fluctuation and our body language very, very well. And so me changing my voice and just giving them a sharp no is all the correction I need. Now, once your dog fixes their mistake, then I'm not going to carry on this correction for a long period of time because your dog's not going to understand. They're just going to think that you're mad at them. And so the correction needs to be quick, it needs to be timely, and then we're done. So like I said, no is kind of that primary correction. Sometimes it's whatever comes out of my mouth, depending on the severity or depending on the action. Now, to kind of give you an example, once again, if I'm working with them and I put them in a stay and they break, it happens all the time because once again, we learn a lot through failure. Now, if they break a stay, I'm not going to get mad. It's not that big a deal. We're working, we're training and learning. And so I'll just simply, no, and then I'll have them do it again. I will always end on a correct behavior. I am never going to end on a failure. And if I have to break a behavior down to make sure that we get that correct repetition, I will. Now, if they do something a little bit more serious, maybe they jump up on me, which is one of my biggest pet peeves, then I'm going to give them a little bit more of a sharp correction. So it would be, no, off. My voice gets a little deeper. A lot of times I kind of puff out my chest and I'm changing my body language. Once again, that's enough of a correction. And then let's say they do something a little bit more serious, like they start to pee in the house. That's when I get frantic. And so my correction might look like, no, 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 no. And I'm just trying to get them to stop. And then I'm going to quickly take them outside. And just as important as that correction is following through and making sure I teach them what the expected behavior is, which I'll get to in just 1 minute. The last part of a correction I want to talk about is a physical correction. Now, once again, I don't believe you need to physically dominate your dog, but there is power, once again, in telling your dog no, and I will accompany that with a leash pop, which is just pop, pop. I'm not trying to yank them around. It's not to inflict any harm. The purpose of that is to regain their attention to then change their behavior. Now, once again, I don't want to injure my dog. I don't want to yank them around. It is not to inflict harm at all. It is simply to regain composure. So that's consistency. You need to consistently reward. You need to consistently correct. You have to have both. Whatever you reinforce will get replicated. And so if you are not consistent and the only time you give your dog feedback is when they're doing something wrong, guess what? They're probably not going to respect you, and instead it's going to be more of a fear-based relationship, which is what we don't want. So even if my puppy is just laying at my feet chewing on something they're supposed to, I might simply just bend down, pet them a little bit, tell them they're being a good boy. We want to give them that feedback, and especially as you're working with them, as you start to implement the commands and the leash work, give them that feedback. It is going to build your relationship more than anything you can do. So be consistent. Once again, anytime I give my dog a correction, I want to then follow through and help them understand what the correct behavior is. So that's where key number 2 comes in. So key number 2, follow through. Like I said, anytime that I correct my dog, I want to then teach them what the expected behavior is. So I'm always going to follow through, whether I ask them to do a command and they are confused or maybe they ignore me, or whether they're doing something they're not supposed to and we catch them in the act. The follow through is a little bit different on each one. So first off, let's talk about maybe you're sitting there and you see your puppy go over and start to try and chew on a baseboard or chew on something they're not supposed to. This is where we use a concept that we call marking and redirecting. So if I saw them start chewing on something they weren't supposed to, I'm going to immediately correct them. So that correction is no. Now, once I correct them, they look at me, I'm going to redirect them into an appropriate behavior. So even if they don't look at me, I'm then going to remove them from that situation. So we'll use the example of chewing on a baseboard. I'll tell them no. Now I'm going to take them over to maybe their bed and I'll give them something to chew on. And so marking the incorrect behavior, redirecting into an appropriate behavior. Now during this puppy stage, puppies need to chew. And so my redirection, I'm going to try and match texture. They were chewing on a baseboard, maybe I'll give them a bully stick or a marrow bone, something hard that they can really get into. If they want to chew on maybe one of your pillows or a soft bed, give them a plush toy. They're chewing on their leash, give them a rope. Try and match those needs, match consistency. So you can do that with a lot of different behaviors. Even jumping is another one. A lot of times if your puppy's jumping, I'll correct them for jumping and then I'll redirect them into an appropriate behavior like a sit. So we teach them, if they want our attention, they've got to do this behavior. This is a good behavior versus the bad behavior. Now let's talk about follow through if they ignore you or maybe don't understand. So let's use the example of jumping on the couch. Let's say we're in the kitchen, we're cooking, we look over and Marley is jumping up on the couch. So I would immediately say, Marley, off, giving her a command. If she gets down and listens to that, then I'm going to reward her. So I'm going to reinforce the behavior that she just performed. If she got down, maybe came over to me, I'm going to pet her. I'm going to tell her she's a good girl because she fixed her mistake. And so the correction is done. She did the right behavior after she was asked. That's all that needs to happen. Now, if she didn't, if she had her paws up there and she looked over her shoulder like, yeah, what are you going to do about it? You're over there. I will not repeat the command. The worst thing you can do is sit there and go, Marley, off, get down, get off the couch. Because you're just giving her a whole spiel of what she doesn't understand. If she doesn't do the behavior when asked, I am not going to repeat the command. I will correct her. So if I said, Marley, off, and she didn't get down, I am then going to say no, and now I'm going to start to approach her. I'm going to walk across the room. Even if I am comfortable wrapped up in a blanket, I'm going to get up and I'm going to go and remove her. Now, if she fixed her mistake with that prompt, if I said no and I started to motion towards her and she got down, I'm going to reward that behavior. I'll call her over, have her sit, praise her, make sure that she understands that, yes, that's exactly what I want. That's a good girl. Now, if she still ignored you and kept trying to get up onto the couch, or maybe succeeded and now is trying to get comfortable, I am going to walk all the way over to her, and at that point I will repeat the correction. I will not repeat the command. I will tell her no again, and now I'm going to remove her and I am going to redirect her into an appropriate activity. Whether that's you're going to come over by me, you're going to lay on the floor, you're going to chew on a toy, or maybe it's, okay, I can't watch you very well right now, you're just going to go take a little break in the crate. Now I'm not going to be super mad and shove her in the crate and make it a big deal, because then you're going to destroy the crate. Instead, the correction has already happened. Now I'm redirecting her into something appropriate to do. And so the correction is done. I do not need to carry on this frustration or this anger after the correction has happened. But I am always going to give them that correction, and I am always going to follow through. Now, let's just say that I gave your puppy a command, and so I put them in, sorry, let me take that back. Let's just say that I asked them for a sit. So I said sit, gave them a hand signal, and they looked at me like, I have no idea what you're talking about. I've never seen this command before. Now, instead of getting frustrated and repeating myself, I'm going to maybe adjust my body language. The worst thing you can do is go sit, sit, no sit, sit, because they're not going to understand at that point. Dogs don't speak English. They understand the sound of our voice making that sound of sit. And so they know that it's one time. So sit is the command, not sit, 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 sit. So one time, ask them once. Now, once again, if they look up at me like, I don't know what you're talking about, I'm going to give them a few seconds to think about it. Dogs are not robots. They have to process things. And at the same time, while I'm allowing them to process, maybe I'll adjust my body language. So maybe I'll kind of lean forward or make the hand gesture. But I'm going to help them succeed. Now then, if they blatantly ignored me and just tried to walk off, that is when I will correct them. I will say, no, now I'm going to reset. So I'm going to bring them back to the same area and ask them again. But I will only repeat the command if they completely walk away. If they are focused on me, just trying to understand what I am asking, I will not repeat the command, but I will adjust my body language to help them succeed. If they ignore me or they run off, then I will implement a correction and reset to where I will repeat the command. So hopefully that makes sense. If you do have any questions on any of this, please let me know. But follow through is super important. The moment that you don't follow through, the moment you call your dog to come and they run the other direction and you say, I'll get them later, is the moment that your dog loses respect for you and are going to try and push more and more buttons or try and push more and more boundaries. So it is so important that you follow through and help your dog succeed. Give them necessary feedback and information. So that was key number 2. We've got consistency, number 1, follow through, number 2, and now number 3, which is management. Management is going to be the most important thing you do throughout this transition period. When we manage our dog, we maintain control and we provide an environment where they don't even have the opportunity to create bad habits. Good management when bringing a puppy home is 100% supervision. 100% supervision is active eyes on them at all times. That's not, well, I saw them a few minutes ago. You have to know what they're doing at all times, what they have in their mouth, what they're getting into, where they're laying down, all of it. 100% supervision. Now, there are some good management tools to help you along the way. The crate is your best management tool. You know that if they're in the crate, they're not chewing something up, they're not destroying a family heirloom, and they're not peeing. So use the crate to your advantage. Anytime you cannot give them 100% supervision, use the crate as management. Use a leash. I let my puppies drag around just a really lightweight 4-foot leash for the first few weeks that they're in my house. That way I have a quick way to grab them if needs be, or to take them outside. I will also keep them on a long lead until I've built a relationship to where I know that they are going to follow through and they are going to come back when called. So that once again, this way, they do not have an opportunity to run off and not listen to me. They don't have an opportunity to create a bad habit. Now, as we go throughout the manners, we're going to talk about how to manage those each individually because they're all managed a little bit differently. But the key points to remember is 100% supervision. That is the most important thing you are going to do over this transition period. Know where your dog is at all times. And once again, that's not, oh, I knew where they were 2 minutes ago. It's, I know where they are now, I know what they're chewing on. Because if you walk around the corner and your dog has had an accident and you don't see it, there's nothing you can do. And so by good management, you provide the opportunity to develop a relationship as well as to create a set of expectations that your dog understands and that are going to set you up for success. So recap, the 3 keys: be consistent, both rewarding and correcting. Lots of feedback is important. Whatever you reinforce will get replicated. If you ask them to do something, follow through. Do not allow your dog to get away with ignoring you or ending on an incorrect behavior. Always train to success, not to failure. And make sure that you follow through. If you ask them to do it, help them succeed. And the last one, management. Manage your dog, 100% supervision. You know what they are getting into at all times. You know where they are. That is going to set you up for success. So now we're going to switch gears and we're going to pull out your puppy and we're going to walk through all of the training with you. As you watch this video, please write down questions and then give me a phone call or an email. We want to help you succeed. We want to make sure that this transition is as smooth as possible. And that is, once again, the purpose of this video is to help you. And so if you have any questions, please let us know. But we're very happy with where your puppy's at and excited to show off this training.
Hello, I'm Skylar. I'm the head trainer here at Puppy Steps Training, and I am very excited to tell you all about Penny and all the commands that she's learned over the past several weeks with us. We're going to start right into her manners. The first manner are doorways. Penny is expected to wait at every closed door. So this means every door you go through together and her crate door every single time you open it. Okay? I don't tell her to sit. I don't tell her wait. My expectation is that I open the door. She pauses. She doesn't try and shove her way through. I say, okay, she can go through. I don't care who goes through first. She doesn't need to sit. I just want that little pause, that little inclination that she is in control. So if she tries to shove her way through, you can manage that behavior several different ways. So if she's in her crate and she tries to burst her way through, I'm just going to close that crate door, tell her no, and we try again. If we go through a door together, I can have her on that leash, just say no, pop, pop, try again. I can block her with my foot, so I'll just say no, try again. If she manages to get through the crate through a door, you may feel really silly, but it is really important to say no, follow through, go get her, and have her do that doorway again. She can't learn if she's fast enough, if she's sneaky enough, she can get away with that behavior. Okay, I'm gonna let her out. Okay, good, Penny, good girl. Hi, sweetie. Hi. Okay. The next manner is her sit to greet. So whenever I initially interact with Penny, I expect this sit to greet. She does not have to sit every single time you want to pet her, but it is extremely important that she presents this to you several times throughout the day. A lot of your interactions should start like this. She does not have to stay in a sit the entire time you're petting her, but once again, I'm looking for that show of, hey, I'm in control. Okay? So when you first get Penny home, you're going to do this little exercise to emphasize the sit to greet. This is also a great exercise in relevancy, which is really important when interacting with Penny. When Penny first came to us, we really had to work on her relevancy towards humans. She had learned to completely ignore anything we had to say. So with the leash and a lot of consistency, we showed her that we are very relevant people to be around. So you're going to have her leash, a couple of treats, and you're going to do this. Penny. Okay, that's it. I'm going to say her name, Penny. Walk backwards so she follows me. Stop walking, and when she sits, okay, she gets a treat. So this is going to build your guys' relationship. It's showing her you are fun, you're someone who follows through, and you're very relevant to her. This is also going to practice that sit to greet. You're telling her, hey, you want a treat? You want a pet? All you have to do is sit, and you're going to get it. Penny. Okay, So it's really important that when she sits down, as soon as her butt sits down, you're gonna mark that with our marker word, okay. Don't worry about if you're fumbling for the treat, just make sure you have that vocal cue, okay, and then you can take your time, because she knows that reward is coming. So the marker is more important than hurrying and giving her that treat. Okay, so you have a very pretty dog. There's gonna be a lot of people who want to pet her. If that's okay with you, this is what we're going to do. So Penny does not get to greet anyone new unless she's sitting. However, that is very hard for a little puppy to do, so we have to help her out. So when someone comes up to me and says, oh my God, I love your dog, can I pet her? I say, let's see. So I'll make sure that Penny is in control for me. She's presenting a sit to greet for me. I tell her she's a very good girl. I give her a treat, and then I can invite that person over. If she wants to run and jump with them, I'm gonna walk away, we're gonna try again. If she's too excited, she doesn't get to meet that person. It is more than okay to say, no, I'm sorry, she's in training, she's too excited. Sorry. I prefer that people come to us, come to greet us. However, if you have to walk towards someone, this is what you're going to do. So if I'm walking towards my friend, or Penny's friend, she's very excited, and she starts pulling or jumping on someone, then I'm going to say nope, and I'm going to turn around. Good girl. I'm going to wait till she's in control, seated. Good. And we'll try again. If she wants to pull, if she wants to jump up, no. And I'll turn around. If she's really excited, good. I'll walk. I'll even stop. You're still in control. All right, let's go all the way towards that person. Good, Penny. Good. So the important thing to remember here is that she does not get to greet someone if she's out of control. That happy, zoomy thing is fantastic. That can happen before and after that sit to greet. If she's really excited to see you, I'm gonna let her get her wiggles out. I'm going to ignore that behavior. I'll send her outside. I'll let her zoom around the house a few times. And when she's ready, I'll have her do that sit to greet for me. Like I said, she doesn't have to remain sitting. Once she shows me that she's in control, then I can say, yes, okay, good girl, yes, that's a good girl. Okay, but we really want to emphasize that sit to greet, especially with a dog that is going to be big, as Penny is. Good girl. Okay, so this is our replacement behavior for jumping. So instead of jumping to get my attention, Penny is going to sit to get it. So if Penny tried to jump up on me, I am going to block her with my knee, so I'll just say off. So the object is to never cause harm. It is to simply block her from scraping her claws all the way down my leg. I'm showing her, no, that's not the behavior that I want. So sometimes my off will go off to the side. If she tries to sneak up behind, I'll do off. If I am sitting and she wants to rear up on me, I'm going to say off. I'll use my forearm on her chest, off. Okay, so my correction needs to be very immediate. I don't want her jumping, and then, off. As soon as those paws come up on me, off. And you're gonna do something to correct that. So if I tell Penny off, and she fixes her mistake, and then she sits, she fixed her mistake. Fantastic. Okay, what a good girl. So with that, it's very important to mark that incorrect behavior. No, don't jump up on me, off. And yes, you sat. Yes, good girl, you fixed it. Okay. So that goes hand in hand with our gently. So whenever I'm giving Penny a treat, I expect one, that no teeth are gonna scrape against my fingers when I give her a treat, and that she's not gonna rear her paws up. Okay, so if her paws come up, I completely reset. So if I'm bending down like this and she wants to put her paws up on my hand or on me or into the air, I will say nope, gently, and then reset. I will do this game or this all day. They need to know, Penny needs to know, all four paws on the ground for a treat. Okay? Good girl, good girl. Now, if she took that treat not too nicely, family, if I felt those teeth scrape against me, I'm not gonna give her that treat. Instead, it is no, gently, and now I'm gonna lower that treat. Let me make sure I have one. In the enclosed palm of my hand. So she's not going to get this until the teeth are gone. So I will be right here in front of her muzzle there, Good, gently, good girl. The easiest way to give Penny a treat is in the open flat palm of your hand. However, Penny has been awesome about having a very nice mouth, so I can give her a treat like this, gently. Good girl, and she's going to be very nice to me. Okay? So, if I'm crouched down like this, going back to the paws rearing up and the off, and usually, if we have one paw here, I will say off. So it depends on the individual person. But for me, if a dog paw goes here, I know 99% of the time the next step is on my chest. And especially with a big breed like Penny is, I'm not gonna want that. I'm going to topple backwards. So even if it's just one paw up here, I'm going to say off, and I'm gonna reset the situation. I'll stop petting, I'll scoot her back. That's why we really emphasize the all four paws on the ground. I don't want those paws rearing up because they'll land on my forearm, on my legs. We want her in control and very, very polite. Okay. Next we have feeding times. Penny has been eating at 6 and 6. The 6 a.m. is not nearly as important as the 6 p.m. For her morning breakfast, for her morning meal, it is okay to fit that immediately into your schedule. However, the evening time, her dinner, I would not push it past like 6:15. Between 5 and 6 is a great time to feed her. The reason we do this is that she goes to bed at 10, and I want to make sure she has cleared everything out of her system before she goes to bed for the night. Okay, so feeding time goes like this. I just do a little shake, shake, shake. My expectation is that she sits. I will back up, lower the food bowl. I'll release her. If she breaks, I'm going to reset that. I'm going to pick that food bowl up, and we're just going to try again. Okay, good girl. Penny has been really good about not resource guarding. You see, I can put my hands in her food bowl. She really doesn't have a problem with me being around her stuff. However, we have spent a long time building that relationship up. It is not a dominance thing. It's not, I can stick my hands and take your food away. It is, I'm a very good presence. I'm very rewarding. So a lot of the time, whenever I'm around Penny and her food, I'm putting stuff into her bowl. I'm feeding her from my hands. I want her to know that it is okay for me to be around her resources. So yes, I can take it away. Can take it away. Thank you, Penny. But also, I'm going to give it back. Okay, so that's a really good way to build a relationship with Penny. Have her sit for her food. You can hand feed her. You can pet her and give her extra fun things in her food while she eats. All right, good girl. We didn't really have a problem with her resource guarding. She's been really good about that. With the toys, if she becomes really, really possessive, I will take that away, but I'm also going to spend a lot of time building up that relationship of it's okay for me to be around her things. Okay. When Penny is done, when she walks away from her food, I pick it up. She is done until her next meal. So even if that means she ate 100%, if she ate 5, anywhere between that, if she walks away, I pick it up. The exception to that, if she goes to get a drink and then comes back, that's totally fine. But if she's trying to take a couple bites and then wander and then come back, you're going to get one chance. We're going to pick that up. She will probably lose her appetite the first couple of days because she's going to be stressed out. That is completely normal. It is also normal for her to have a loose stool during this stressful transition. To help with that, you can mix, Penny, you can mix some pumpkin and Greek yogurt in with her kibble. Okay, handling. Penny is very much used to being handled. Continue handling her throughout her life. Handle her like they would at the vet and at the groomer. So I can look at her ears. Oh, beautiful. Go. I can open her mouth. Good. Can I see her teeth? Oh, what a good girl. I can make her stand. I can brush her all over. I can handle her paws. I can pick her up. I don't know how long I'll be able to pick her up, but right now I can pick her up and move her around. So I really want her prepared for every possible scenario. So if she's ever in a weird handling position, I want to make sure that she is treated and has appropriate compensation for her efforts. So if someone is making her dance, I want her to know that she's going to get rewarded for such shenanigans. I want her very comfortable. I want her to think this is fine, this is normal, this is a very happy thing. If I'm grooming her and she struggles, I'm not going to let her get away. So I'm not going to reward a temper tantrum, but I also am going to acknowledge, hey, my dog is uncomfortable, and I want to spend some time building that up. So when we first started with Penny, I would do a couple brushes and then a treat, and that gradually moved into, I'm going to brush this entire section of your body, and then you're going to get a treat. When we first started with the nails, I rewarded her for me just handling her nails, her paws. Here's your treat. And now she gets a treat every time I finish a nail. So if she starts squirming on me while I'm doing her nails, I'll take a step back. So I won't completely release her. I'm not going to reward that temper tantrum, but I'll take a step back. I'll hold her here, I'll pet her, I'll give her treats, and then we'll work our way back up. So if she was struggling, I would go here, and then I could reward her for me touching the paw, handling the paw, clipping the nail, reward, reward, reward. Good girl. Yeah. Okay. Penny, you can't move off camera. Okay, now we have drop-its. So drop-its should always be a very fun game. 90% of the time when I'm working on drop-its with Penny, we're playing. When she lets go of the object, okay, she gets it back. So all of our commands, all of our manners, why are you, she really likes the rug. All of our manners, all of our commands are one and done. So I'm not gonna say, drop it, Penny, drop it. I'm gonna make sure that she hears me the first time, and then I'm not gonna repeat myself. So one, I wanna make sure that she knows I'm talking to her. So I'll say her name a lot of the time, especially when I'm first working on drop-its with her. I'm going to say that very loud and clear, and then I'm gonna give her a second or two to process and then comply. It takes a second to break out of that chewing reverie. What is Skylar saying? Something important. What is that? Okay, let me let it go. If that time has come and gone, and it's very obvious that she's just ignoring you, that is when you do the follow through and you say, nope. That's it. That is the start of my follow through. So if I say no and Penny sees that it's a mistake, she lets go, she fixes it, fantastic. Okay, good girl, let me throw that toy for you. If she ignores my no, then I'm going to physically take it away. When I have to physically take it away, I'll have her do a sit or a watch me. So it's not a punishment, it's, hey, I need you to listen to me, I'm part of this game as well, and it's basically having her check in with me before we keep on playing. If I have to physically take something away from a puppy 3 times in a row, we're going to take away that thing, even if it's for 30 seconds, a couple minutes. Maybe I can redirect them onto a new toy, but I want that message of, if you're not going to listen, you're not going to play my game. Okay, so let's see if I can keep Penny in frame for our drop-its. Drop it. Good girl, good girl. Okay. Drop it. No. Good girl. So you could see that thought process there. Okay, she really wanted to go, which I hope you could see it. She really wanted to go to her spot. Yep, and this is where, you know what? We're gonna go to Penny. So let me see something. Okay, I moved the camera so you can see Penny. So this is where she likes to take all of her toys. This is her favorite spot in the room. I could have 5 fluffy beds out, and she prefers that exact carpet. Okay? Drop it. Good girl, good girl. Okay? See if she'll bring it back to her. There we go. Drop it. Good girl, good girl. Okay, so you can see before when I asked her with that drop it and she paused and I had to tell her no, she really wanted to bring it to this area. And then my no elicited the drop and she followed through. Penny, drop it. Good girl. Okay. Okay, so when you're working on drop its with her in real time, you're not gonna go this fast. Please allow your dog to actually play with their toy. Incorporate yourself into the play. It's not always let it go, throw. I'll play with her, I'll tug, I'll have her follow around the room with me, and every so often I'll ask, okay, I'll ask for that drop it and ask her to check in with me. Drop its are really important, especially when you're playing that tug game. I love playing tug with my dogs. It's a great way to tire them out and build that relationship, but they also know that they have to play with my rules. They have to listen when I say drop it. It's a great way to break it up, take a little break. Hey, you're listening, you're in control. All right, let's keep playing. Penny, drop it. Good girl. Okay. And back. So when I tell Penny to drop it, she can't get it back until I say okay. So when she lets go, I'll say good girl, I'll take the toy, and then when I say okay, she can have it back. So the reason that we do this is that if I have to take it away from her, whether it's to replace or throw again, I don't want her saying, hey, I let it go, and now I'm gonna grab and get it. I wanna be able to have that time to replace or throw it again for her. So let's talk more let's talk more about drop it when I reset the camera. So when I ask Penny to drop something, I really want her to completely let go and not get it till I say okay. So if I need to replace it, I have that time. So replacing something with Penny. If she found something she's not supposed to, you're gonna ask for that drop it or no, depending on the situation, whatever comes out of your mouth. And then when she lets go, I'm going to praise her. Yes, good girl, you let that go, good job. But then I have that time to replace it with the same consistency. So if she's chewing on a sock of mine, I'm gonna say drop it, good girl, and then give her something appropriate to chew on instead. So I'll give her something soft. If I caught her chewing on a table leg, I'm gonna give her a bully stick. So it is really important to know that it's not enough just to say, hey, don't do that. You have to show her what to do instead. Did you finish all the water and you're looking for more water? Penny, come here. So if Penny is adamant that she does not want to let go of the thing that she is holding, you have a couple options. So one, you can hold the side of the toy like this and slowly, here I can get a little closer, you can slowly work your hands in and her out. The other thing that you can do is I will tell her no, and I will curl her lips around her teeth like this. So she lets go. So this is not to cause harm to Penny, that is just my eject button so I can take away the toy. Yes, good girl, okay, yep. Have fun, go to the rug. Hey, so with drop it, practice way more than you actually need to use it. Keep it fun, say it one time, and make sure you follow through. Make sure to replace. All right, let's move on to our commands. Our first command is place. So place applies to anything that has a defined area. So it is a very universal command. So when I say Penny place, I point to where I want her to go, and I need all four paws to be there. The best place to do place are these Kuranda beds because it's elevated, like the parameters, the area is very defined. However, you can use place in the store, you can use on a log, a shelf, a blanket, anything that has a defined boundary. Penny, place. When all four paws go on, I'll say good. And that's when I really utilize that good marker. So as she continues to stay on, I'm gonna continue to reward her and say, good, good girl. You notice I have a very calm voice when I say that good. I don't wanna get her riled up because the place command is for settling in. Okay, so I'm not gonna go over and pet her and get her all excited and then run away. Place is, hey, you're being very calm right now. What a good girl, here's your treat. I do not give her a treat for coming off of place because I want her to think that the longer I'm here, the more treats I'm going to get. I'm not going to get treats for leaving the place. I'm going to get treats for staying on the place. So the frequency of my treats is going to depend on the distractions around Penny. So if we're just chilling, talking like this, I'm not going to give her very many treats because we've built up that command quite a bit. However, if there were children running around, if we're in a very crowded area, if she's pretty distracted, I'm going to give her treats more frequently. Good. So right now, Penny can handle about 2 minutes on her place command. However, if you're consistent and build this up, that will easily go to 45-hour, couple hours, okay, as long as you're consistent and reward her for staying in her place. Okay. Okay, good girl. Place. Good. So when Penny breaks, notice I say when, not if. When she breaks, I am just going to say no and reset her. So I will repeat if I have to reset. So if Penny put one paw out, I would say no, take a step towards her. If she fixed it, good. If she just wandered off, I'm going to use that leash and say no, Penny, place. Okay? Good girl. Okay. All right, that is our place command. Crate is very similar in the setup, so I'll point towards the crate, I'll say crate. When she goes in, all 4 paws, I'll say good girl, and she gets to come out when I say okay. So she'll get a treat for going in, no treat for coming out. Penny, crate. Good. Okay. Crate. Good girl. Okay. So the full standard is tapping on top. Penny is a little bit past that. So our full standard, Penny, crate, little tap. Good. Okay. But we've been working on her responding to the crate as I'm further and further away. Penny, crate. So if she gets lost, if she went a little bit and she looks at me like, I don't know what you mean, I'm going to change my body language in order for her to succeed. So I will get a little bit closer. Good girl. And help her out. Okay. Crate. That was a beautiful guess. That is dead wrong. No, ma'am. A little closer. Help her out. Good. Okay. Okay. So I will happily give all the answers to the test if that is what is needed. Okay? We've been working on her responding 10 feet away. If she needs help today, then I'm going to give her help. Okay? So I will meet Penny at her level and we can build up, we can go from there. So if she doesn't understand even this, then I'll put my hand in there and help, oh, good job, and help her out that way. Okay. However, I will help out. But if I tell her crate and she goes, no, and walks away, then that is where the follow through really comes in handy, where I will say, nope, I will calmly go and get her, hold her by the leash, and say, no, crate, and guide her in. Okay? When we first built this up, I would throw treats in there, get her very comfortable. We spent a lot of time helping her be very comfortable in her crate. We are past that now. Okay, the first day, okay. You can throw treats in there, but I would not do it past day 1 because I do not bribe my dogs. I will happily reward my dogs, Penny, but I also don't want her dependent on those treats in order for her to go in. So I'd much rather spend a lot of time building up that command than bribing my dog. If she wants to dig her heels in, then we'll spend a lot of time, slight pressure, go in, what a good girl, come on out, treats, treats, treats. Okay, we have 3 hand gestures. So we have sit, so my hand is out like this, little tiny scoop. We have down. So this is where my hand goes. This is the full standard of down. So it's a little off to the side. My hand is very flat. Down and stay. When you tell a dog stay, you're not going to go stay, stay. It's stay. You tell them stay. You tell them once. This hand can do whatever it wants to do. Okay, so Penny has 20-second down stays, 20-second sit stays. If she is in a sit stay and goes into a down, that's fine. She's settling in. She's getting more comfortable. However, the inverse is not true. If she is in a down stay and pops up into a sit, then I'm going to say no and reset her. So when we're working, when she breaks, I'll just say no. I'll take her back to the same spot where she broke. We try again. If she breaks 3 times in a row, it is too hard. Even if you did it the day before, even if you did it 20 minutes ago, it's too hard. So you are going to meet her at her level, do small successes, and either build on that success up to where she was before or end on that success. We are never going to train her to the point of unmotivation. We're not going to train her where she just gets frustrated. I don't want to get frustrated. We're always going to end on that happy note. So with the follow through and helping her out with the gestures, if she doesn't understand this, I may do a little bit more exaggerated. I may take a little step, bend at the waist, a little more exaggerated. With Penny, I have found it more beneficial that I will say sit, and if she does not comply, I'm going to pull a little up on that leash. So I am not dragging her. I am not choking her. It is a, hey, Penny, Penny, sit. Little up. Good girl. Okay, so same thing with the down. I'm always going to start at that standard of me fully standing upright and me doing this gesture. However, if she does not understand, then I'm not going to say down, 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 Penny, down. Beautiful. Well done, girl. Instead, I'm going to give her a second or two to process this. But if she doesn't understand this, then I'm going to bend down a little bit more, a little more, a little more. Okay? If absolutely necessary, I will break out that treat, but once again, we are past that point, and I don't want her dependent on the treat in order to do the command. Spend a lot of time building that up. We're past that. However, high distraction area, maybe a new person. If she needs that help, I'm going to give it to her. But if it's just normal working on the stays, let's start from the standard. All right, let's show you her stays. Sit. Down. So I'm going to pause right here. She's looking at me. She's looking at my hand. She's like, I've never seen this command. I've never done it before in my life. So I'm going to change. Good girl. Stay. So a little slight change in my body language is all it took in order for her to succeed. Okay. Good girl. Good girl. Let's try again. Sit. Down. Good. Nope. Down. Stay. So sometimes when Penny is sticky with her downs, I can also do a little bit of leash pressure, which I can show you next. Okay. Good girl. Okay. So with that leash pressure with the down. Penny, sit. Good girl. So with the leash, hey, Good. I'm going to have the leash. I'm going to use one foot to pull that kind of tight. And then when I say down, I can use the other foot, guide her down. Good girl. Okay. Good job, sweetie. So I'm going to show you one more time. Sit. Penny, down. A little help. Little guiding down. Good girl. Okay. Good girl. So with Penny, I will allow certain processing time. I know she knows this command, so I want to help her out, but not too much. But also with her being stubborn and her trying to ignore humans, I am a bit more willing to use that leash pressure, to use that guiding to help her follow through a little bit more quickly. However, that is not how we taught the command. That is how I will enforce the command sometimes with a dog like Penny. The last command we're going to talk about is leave it. When I say leave it to something, that something is forever off limits. So I'm not going to say leave it to permanent objects around the house like plants or baseboards, because I don't want to destroy the integrity of that command, because she's at some point going to have access to that. Instead, I say leave it for things that I can take away from Penny, or I can take Penny away from. So good examples of leave it: shattered glass, food on the ground, if you're on a hike and there's a cow pie, if there's roadkill, if there's a rattlesnake, those are all leave it things, because I can either take those things away or we can walk away from. So as she continues to leave the leave it object, I'm going to continue to reward her, once again utilizing that good marker. When we're all away, when I've picked it all up, when we're far enough away, okay, good girl, good girl. Okay, leave it. Good. Good. Okay, good girl, good girl, good Penny. Okay, let's try that again. So now I have a couple treats. Okay, you see these? Leave it. Good girl. Good. You can walk away from them, I promise. Good girl. And then this is the tricky part. I may have to give her a little prompt while I pick them all up. Okay, good girl. Good Penny. Good girl, good girl. Okay. Those are all of her commands. Let's start with crate training. Penny has been sleeping through the night and can be in the crate during the day for up to 4 hours at a time. Okay, so when I say sleeping through the night, I mean 8 hours. She's been going to bed at 10 and getting up at 6. You can adjust that to fit your schedule. However, do not do it right away. Give her time to adjust and slowly transition that. If you want to go back to bed, you can let her out at 6, let her run around, let her go to the bathroom, put her back in the crate with a Kong, with a bully stick, with a marrow bone, and then you can go back to bed for another hour. However, I would not try and push her to sleep till 7, 7:30, 8 o'clock right away. Give her time to adjust and do it very slowly. She's going to fall asleep before 10, that's fine. Before she goes to bed for the night, make sure she has run, do a poop walk, have her run in the yard, just make sure she has cleared everything out of her system. To help with that and to help with house training, we're going to have a couple little rules. We're going to take away water at 8, and like I said before, we're going to make sure that we feed her that last big meal of the day before like 6:30, 6:15. Okay? We're also not going to give her free access to water right away. While she's been here, I've been giving her as much water as her heart desires. However, when dogs are stressed, they go to the bathroom more, they drink more, they need to go to the bathroom because of that. So please keep her very well hydrated, give her water several times throughout the day, but we're not going to give her free access until she has adjusted, until her and her tummy has adjusted into her new routine. After that, as much water as she desires. Okay. During the day, 4 hours. She can be in the crate during the day from anywhere up to 2 minutes while you have to run to the bathroom to 4 hours. You're going to keep her time in the crate variable. You're going to put her in the crate when you're home and when you're gone. Okay, so home and when you're gone. If you only crate her when you leave, she's going to associate the crate with you abandoning her. She has spent a lot of time in her crate here. We spent a lot of time building that up, making a very happy association. You're going to continue to do that for the first year or so of her life. Some dogs phase out of the crate. Some dogs need the crate for their entire lives. Some dogs like having their crate. So behind the camera right now, I have my 4-year-old mini Aussie Husky named Indiana Jones. She's right behind you guys, and she's been in her crate the entire time I've been filming. She loves her crate. If I have it accidentally closed, she will stand there and she'll yell at me until I open the crate door for her. Okay? The crate is a great way to manage the dog, to help with anxiety. Instead of pacing nervously and tearing up stuff, they're safe in their crate. While in the crate, they're not going to cause damage to themselves or to your property. Please use the crate for as long as Penny needs. Okay. So routines are fantastic, but if Penny is always in a crate from this time to this time because you're always gone, there's always going to be a time that you're late. You need to stop at a store on your way back. You're running late, and Penny can tell time. She's going to know, hey, you're 30 minutes late, and I have been crying this entire time. So don't always let her out. When you come home, put her in at variable times before you leave. When you come home, it is really important that you don't make that beeline towards the crate, at least not every single time. I don't want to build up a charge. I don't want her to hear that garage door opening or your car pull up and her to start screaming and barking because she knows, hey, my human is home. They're going to let me out. Instead, we're going to fight our instinct to fling the crate open and hug our dog. We are going to come home, say, oh, hi, Penny, get a drink, change, and then I'll let her out. She's pausing at the crate. I'll say, okay, let's go potty. Hey, you did a sit to greet. And now we can erupt in joy and happiness. But if you meet her with a charge every time, she's going to meet you. That's how you get this crazy explosive dog at the door if you're crazy and explosive. If you're calm, Penny will be calm. Okay? You can, of course, be excited to see your dog, but let's just make sure that she's calm first. Okay. Noise in the crate. If you first put her in the crate and she starts to whine, you're going to say, hey, I know that you've been exercised, either physically or mentally. You've gone to the bathroom. I know you're okay. I'm going to ignore that. If that noise continues 5-10 minutes, cover her with a blanket. Okay? That also applies if she starts to make noise at any point during the crate training. Anytime she's in the crate, I will cover her with a blanket. She's like a little parakeet. If she can't see out, she's going to quiet right down. If I know she needs to come out and she's making those noises of, hey, I need to be let out, or she knows she's going to be let out and she gets all excited, I need 10 seconds of silence. If she barks, I will say, hush, and I will restart the timer. If she's excited, like bark, 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 you come in the room, tell her hush, and then she's quiet, I'm going to make sure those 10 seconds of silence applies to where she cannot see me. I don't want her trying to trick me, bark, bark, bark to reel me in, and then look how quiet I am, you can let me out. Okay? If that sound is, hey, I have explosive diarrhea, I don't feel good, I'm still going to have 3-5 seconds of silence. The worst thing you can do while crate training a dog is to let them out if they cry. You do that one time and the dog has learned, hey, if I make enough noise, they're going to let me out. And it's going to be harder and harder to get them out of the crate because they're going to be screaming and screaming because they know that one time, if I make enough noise, you'll let me out. So if she's making noise in the crate, she isn't going to come out. 10 seconds of silence. The second worst thing you could do is to put your finger through the crate and say, it's okay, Penny, it's okay, you're going to be let out soon. No. If we're throwing a temper tantrum, no positive attention in the crate. Okay? We don't need to sleep facing her. She is fine. Okay? If you've covered her with a blanket, if you've ignored her, if she's still making all of that noise, my last resort, I will say, Penny, hush, and I'll either tap, 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 or I will rap, rap, rap on the crate. So hush, rap, 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 hush again. Okay? Hey, the last part that I will say for crate training is the very first night you have her, you don't have to do this any of the other times, just the first night, you're going to set an alarm for 1 a.m., and let her out. You don't need to ring the bells. You don't need to wake her up completely. It's, hey, it's 1 a.m., take a break, go back to bed, and after that, she should be sleeping through the night. We're just gonna help with that stressful transition just the first night. Okay, house training. Out of everything we've talked about so far, this is gonna require the most effort on your part, but it's going to be 2 weeks of a mild inconvenience for a lifetime of good house training. So you're going to have a very strict schedule the first 2 weeks that you have Penny. And that is going to help her transition and help really solidify that house training that we've worked really hard on. So Penny is doing fantastic with house training. I can't remember the last time she had an accident. I want that awesomeness to transfer over to you guys. So she's been up here. We're going to take her down here to make sure that she goes clear up here. Okay, so for the first 24 hours you have her, you're going to take her to the bells every 30 minutes. That time does not apply if she is sleeping or if she's in the crate. Okay, you can wait till you let her out of the crate and then that time resets. She wakes up from the nap, that time resets. Okay, so day 1, 30 minutes. Day 2, 45. Day 3, 1 hour. She's going to stay at 1 hour for the first week. So day 3 to 7, 1 hour. After that, on day 8, we're going to slowly work our way up to 2 hours. I wish I could tell you exactly how that's going to work. You may want to continue doing 15-minute intervals. You may want to jump up to 2. You may want to do an hour and a half. Whatever happens is completely dependent on how Penny is doing. If she has a close call, she has an accident, that time is immediately taken back down. Okay, she messes up one time, you're taking her out more. So you're taking her out a lot. That's okay. She's not going to have to go to the bathroom every single time, but this is to get ahead of her bladder schedule and to establish the pattern of here's the house, here's the bells, here's your potty spot. Okay, we want her to know how to get to the bells from every single room of the house. We want to establish that good pattern of this is what I need to do when I need to go to the bathroom. Okay, 100% supervision is absolutely critical for house training. I cannot emphasize this enough. 100% supervision. This does not mean I knew where Penny was 5 minutes ago. I'm sure it's fine. I'm sure she's around here somewhere. No, someone responsible has active eyes on Penny at all times. If you cannot give her that 100% supervision, she goes in the crate. If you do not want a bathroom buddy, she goes in the crate. Okay? You can tether her to you. You can close all the doors in your house. You can use baby gates. You can block areas. I like to trap puppies in the same room as me, so it's easier for me to keep an eye on them. Okay? Once again, 100% supervision is absolutely crucial for good house training. If she has an accident and you're not there to correct it and follow through, you cannot do anything. You can't punish her. You can't rub her nose in it. That does nothing. So if she leaves an accident and you are not there to see it, nothing you can do. You can slap yourself on the wrist and say, oh, that means I wasn't watching Penny. I let her hide around the corner. I need to be better. On the off chance that Penny has an accident, it should be right in front of you so you can correct it. So this is when I am the most firm. I'll use my Batman voice. I'll say, no, 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 no. I'm very frantic. So anything to stop the flow. So I'll say, no, 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 run to her, grab her by the collar, have her by the leash. We run out. So it is really important that when this happens, if this happens, hopefully it does not happen because we're going to be on top of everything. If this happens, you have to go out with her. It is not enough to kick her out and clean up the mess. That is when you yell at someone else to clean it up because you're doing the more important job of going out with your dog. When Penny finishes, good girl, good job. So when she has an accident, if she has an accident, don't ever do that again. And when she finishes, she fixed her mistake. Good girl, good job. So I want to make that as black and white as possible. I want to show her that's not where you go. Yes, that is where you go. Okay? If you kick her out just to clean up the mess, Penny has learned, oh, I peed and then I could go play. Not a really good lesson. In your go home bag, we are giving you a set of bells to place on the door for Penny. Now, like the crate, some dogs grow out of the bells and some need them throughout their entire life. Whatever you guys want to do and whatever is best for Penny, please do that. Okay, so the bells have a couple of different marker words. So when you're bringing Penny to the bells, every 30 minutes, 45, every hour, she's touching the bells with her nose. Not her paw. That is a no. Try again. When she touches the bells with her nose, it's okay, outside. When she is looking around the potty spot, looking to go to the bathroom, it's outside, Penny, outside. And when she has actually gone to the bathroom, good, outside. So, okay, outside, outside, good, outside. She gets a treat for the first 3 days. She rings the bells. After that, she only gets a treat for actually pottying outside. If you give her treats past those 3 days, she will ring the bells for attention, for a treat, because she's bored. Okay? On a similar note, when she rings the bells, the only thing she's allowed to do is go to the bathroom. We're going to go to the potty spot, which when you're taking her out, every 30, 45, an hour, 1 minute tops. When you're at that 2-hour mark and beyond, 3 minutes tops. I'm not going to spend 20 minutes outside because my dog is stalling and just wants to sniff. 3 minutes. Okay? So when we ring bells, the only thing we're allowed to do is go to the bathroom. So that means we're not going to sunbathe, we're not going to be pet, we're not going to eat gravel, we're not going to eat my favorite lilac bush. It is you are allowed to sniff, walk around, go to the bathroom, and that is it. So if you want Penny to play after she goes to the bathroom but she rang the bells, you have to bring her in and reset that situation. Okay? So you may feel really silly, but that is how you get a dog who uses the bells only for the bathroom. So if you want her to play, bring her in, reset that situation. Okay, now you can go outside. Okay. When you first bring her home, you're going to do this little exercise with the bells I'm about to show you. So the bells are going to be off of the door, so you'll get them out of the bag, put them on your hand, and when you've done this exercise, they can go on the door until you're ready to get rid of them, or they stay on the door forever, and you do a beautiful ceremonial placing of the bells on the door. Okay? So she is going to ring the bells several times, and then we'll transfer to the door. So I'll show you what that looks like. All right, so I have Penny, I have the bells. I'm going to put them in front of her face, and whenever she touches them, okay, no matter how light, okay, treat. So I'll do this 3 or 4 times. If she pauses like this, she's looking at my hand, looking at my treat pouch, pondering life. I'm just going to be patient. I'm going to stare at the bells. Maybe I'll move them a little bit to get her attention. Okay. Okay, good girl. And after you've done that, you'll move to the door and have her do that process over again. Except now, it is going to be, okay, outside. Okay, outside. Okay, outside. So this is just the first time. When those 30 minutes, okay, outside, is up and you have to take her to the bells, 1 time is more than enough. But we really want to have a happy first interaction with the bells here. Yes, okay, outside. Okay, outside. I want to get her excited. I want her to know, hey, there are bells here. Okay, so just a lot on the first one, and then every time after that, once is fine. Right, let's go to the potty spot. Okay, good girl. Outside. Okay. All right, those are the bells. Okay, let's talk about leash work. Penny goes on several different kinds of walks. She has a heel, a long lead, and an off leash. We're going to start with the heel. So the heel is for you. So this is not an adequate way to exercise Penny. This is not the way she gets to explore her neighborhood. The heel, we're going to practice a lot, but the best place to use a heel is when we're in a very high distraction area, when I need her by my side, when we're going through a big crowd of people, when there's a possible distraction, when I really need her focus. So I'm going to practice the heel throughout our walk, but that is not going to be what the majority of her walks are going to look like. So I will do heel in 5, 10-minute bursts, and then she gets to go back on the long lead, on the off leash, and she gets to have a good time. Okay? This is really mentally stimulating and exhausting for a dog to do, so I'm going to make sure that she is properly compensated for all of her hard efforts. Whenever you go outside with your dog, you're going to have a treat pouch. You never know what you're going to encounter. Regardless of how old your dog is, it is very good advice to have a treat pouch on you when you go outside. What if I want to practice recalls? What if I want to reward her for engaging with me? I want to give her a reward for having a really good heel. And it holds all your poop bags. It is really fantastic. Okay, so with the heel, I'm going to show you it, and then we'll go over it in detail. Penny, heel. Heel. Good, good girl. Heel. Good girl. Heel. Good. Good. Heel. Good girl. Good girl. Okay, so you notice I am using my 4-foot leash, but she only gets about maybe a foot, because during a heel, her job is to focus on me, match my pace, and stay at my side. So if you use the whole length of the leash, that's a bit too much space for her to understand. So if I only give her this much to work with, her job is easier. It is better for her to understand my job is to stay by my side. You'll also have noticed that I use the leash to guide her around. So I'm using that leash pressure to tell her where we're gonna go. So if I wanna turn into her, I don't want her to hit my shin. So I'm gonna pull that leash back a little bit so she knows, hey, we're gonna change direction. I need you to not get hit in the head with my leg. If I'm turning away from her, I'm gonna use that, hey, we're gonna go this way. Whenever I stop, I'm gonna use leash pressure and pull up just a little bit. So while we're training, a lot of the time she sits in front of me whenever I stand, because that's our sit to greet. We're eye to eye, more or less. This is how she gets my attention. I don't want that, however, in a heel, because when I want to go forward again, all of a sudden there is a very big dog in my way. So I use that leash pressure to kind of pull up and say, hey, I need you to stop by my side. Hey, you also notice that I was constantly talking to her, good girl, and giving her treats. For the first week that you have her, go very heavy on the treats, light on the distractions. The heel is very respect-based, so it takes a while to transfer over. So you need to be consistent in rewarding her and correcting her. So you saw the reward, good girl, both when I am standing still and walking. But you also need to correct her. So we have several different levels. The first, if she's a little distracted, like she was when we first started, that little heel, I'm gonna go, hey, Penny, and just a little like, hey, look at me. Oh, good girl, you brought your attention back to me. Good, here's your treat. Okay, so if she's just a little distracted, just bring it back. Like, hey, Penny, bring it back. However, if she pulls forward, you're going to say no and do a pop. So Penny, who came to us loving to pull, I had to be pretty firm with my pops. So you have to mean it with her or else she will just barrel on through. So pull, no, pop. I will do that 2 times in a row. If she pulls for the 3rd time, she does not care about my correction, so I need to do something else. So it's going to be no, pop. Hey, you looked at me, what a good girl. Good, you're continuing to not pull now. You fixed your mistake. Good. I'll do that twice. If we get to the 3rd time within a very short span, then I'm going to do something else. And that something else is to stop completely. So if she wants to pull, I'm not going to go anywhere. I am going to plant my feet and I'm not going to move until she's seated and she's looking at me. I want her to know we're not going to go where she wants to go unless I'm involved in that decision-making process. Okay, I have her attention. She's seated. She's looking at me. All right, let's go again. If she has the audacity to pull after that, then I am going to 180, walk away. If you want to pull, we're going to go in the opposite direction. I'm always going to walk into her and I'm going to walk very fast, very brisk. You do not have to be mean. We are going to be firm and say, nope, that's not right. Walk the other direction. I will walk the same patch of sidewalk 11 times if that's what it takes to get my dog's attention back. Okay? For heels, it is all about quality, not quantity. Okay? So let me demonstrate. Good girl. Good, Penny. So if she wanted to pull right now, I would go, nope. Walk into her, walk the other way. I have her focus. She's doing well. I'll turn back. What a good girl. Oh, you wanted to pull? We're going to turn away. Good girl. There's our dog. Good girl. Yes, you've done nothing wrong. You're doing great. Good. Oh, we're almost there. Oh, and you wanted to pull? Turn. Good girl. Good girl. Good. Okay. Do not let Penny pull. If you let her, she will pull. Regardless of how long the leash is, dogs are going to find the end of that leash and see if they can pull against it. As soon as you feel that leash tighten, You're going to do something to fix that, whether that's no, pop, pop, stand still, turn around. Okay? So you need to be very quick to follow through with Penny, but also you're going to give her a lot of praise and a lot of treats for walking well. Okay? The heel is very involved. As she gets older, you can reward her less and less, but I'm never really going to take away that full reward. Even if that's a treat at the start of the walk, at the end of the walk, I'm going to reward that heel. Okay, let's switch to a long lead and go over her recall and her long lead walk. Right. This is the long lead. Notice we don't use retractable leashes. I'm not really a big fan of retractable leashes. I much prefer the long lead. So this is one of our shorter long leads. It's about 10 to 12 feet long. This is really good for crowded neighborhoods, and then I also have longer leashes for bigger spaces, parks, hikes, whatever. So this way, she has all of that space. So you notice she went all the way to the water bowl, and there's still slack in this leash. So this is the way that Penny is going to get to know her neighborhood. I don't care if she's in front of me, behind. If she wants to stop and sniff a bush, then we're going to stop and we're going to sniff that bush to her heart's content. Okay, so this is the time she really gets to explore and have that happy dog walk. However, we're still not going to let her pull, but she also has all of that space to explore, so we can manage her and still let her have a very good time. This is also the way that we can work on the recall. So when you first bring Penny home, she is not going to have off-leash walks. We are going to be on the long lead for a while, and then when that respect is transferred over, Penny, come. Good girl. Then you can try off-leash. But how we're going to get there is the long lead. So I just called her. You notice it's very different from my normal speaking cadence, where I want to make sure that she knows that I am talking to her, Penny, and then a little pause, come. So if she comes to me, I'll say, good girl, okay, give her a treat, and then she gets to go back on her merry way, continue with our happy walk. If she checks in with me on her own, I am going to reward that. If you do not reward the check-in, you are not going to have a check-in. What you reinforce gets repeated. So if you like the fact that she's checking in with you all the time, make sure to reward that. Okay. So 9 times out of 10, when I call Penny, it was like that. She gets a treat. She gets to go back to doing what she was doing before. It is the 1 time out of 10, ma'am, we don't chew on the long lead, thank you so much. It is the 1 time out of 10 that we end the fun. If you only call her when the fun is ended, she's not going to want to come to you. Okay, so what do we do when she does not listen to Penny come? You have that leash and you're going to reel her in like a fish. So I'm going to mark that behavior with a no. Hey, that's not what I wanted. That was incorrect. And I'm going to give her a little pressure on that long lead and guide her forward. So I'm going to show her how to fix her mistake, and we're going to reinforce that follow through. As soon as she caves into that little, what did I say about chewing on the leash, ma'am? As soon as she caves into that little pressure, then I'll say, yes, good girl, good job. You fixed your mistake. I helped you fix your mistake, but you got there. When she comes all the way to me, okay. So during a failed recall, you are using all 3 of our markers. Hey, no. So no, that's not right. Good, you fixed it. Okay, you came to me. Okay, so we're going to practice. So I'm going to say no, little pull, get up. So this, like she's digging in. So I don't want to drag her across the floor. But also, I'll keep applying that like, hey, nope. Good girl. Okay, it's a little tug. All right, here, go over there. So I'll pretend that she ignored, so I'll go, no. Real, good girl. Okay. Okay. So please utilize the long lead. It is a fantastic tool. It creates a very happy walking experience for both owner and dog. You can reel it in. Hey, there's a crowd of people coming. Maybe let's do a heel to Ragon. All right, now you have all of that space. Okay. So now we have the off leash. If she's responding really well to you and you want to try Penny in an off leash area, you're going to be prepared to go and get her. Penny. Good girl. Let me fix that. Thank you, ma'am. Okay. So now if she fails, you don't have that long lead to reel her in. Instead, you have your body language and your voice. So if she did not listen to me, my immediate follow through is no, and I'm going to start walking towards her. Okay? So I'm not going to yell from my porch, Penny, no, come, Penny, come. I'm going to say it one time. If she does not follow through on that one time, I'm going to go get her. So no, immediately start walking. If she sees me walking and she comes to me and fixes her mistake, yes, good girl, good job. I'll stop because I asked her to come to me, and I'll be very encouraging. Yes, good girl, you fixed it. Okay, you came, good job. Even if you had to walk 5 feet or 20 feet, if you had to chase her for 5 seconds to 20 minutes, if she came to you at all, you're not going to punish her for coming to you. She came to you. Don't punish your dog for coming to you. I know that's very frustrating to have to chase your dog throughout a field, but if she came to you the last 10 feet, yes, good girl, good job, even if it's with a very fake smile on your face, yes, good girl, good job. I'll put her on the long lead, but I'm going to reward her for fixing her mistake. If I have to completely chase her down when I finally get to her, it is no, long lead, let's try again. Okay, some rules for the recall. This is in the training manual, but I really want to make sure that we go over those here as well. One person is going to call Penny one time. That person is the one that follows through. We don't need a whole bunch of voices saying, Penny, come, Penny, come. One person. Humans think it's very helpful to call your dog after you've already called your dog. No, all that does is diminish the command for you. So if you said it, you have to be the one to go and get her. If you can't go get her, don't say it. If you know she's not going to come to you, just go get her. So the person that calls is the one that is going to follow through. Penny is a fantastic dog. You're going to love her. Just remember that follow through, lots of love. Don't let her get away with ignoring you. I have loved training her these past several weeks, and I know you're going to love her too. Thank you.